Iran's deadly retaliation continues to bleed the Gulf, yet Mohammed bin Salman and Mohammed bin Zayed appear unwilling to see this war come to an end. Revealed now are the inside details of what Riyadh and Abu Dhabi are seeking from Donald Trump as the conflict intensifies. What is the real reason Gulf powers want the United States and Israel to keep fighting Iran, and is a deeper strategic objective now coming into focus? Iran is unleashing fresh strikes on the UAE, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, even as speculation grows over whether Gulf states are quietly backing a push for regime change in Tehran. Despite facing sustained pressure from Iran, America's Gulf allies appear to be urging Donald Trump to continue military operations rather than scale them back. In a significant revelation reported by the Associated Press, several Gulf partners are said to be quietly encouraging Washington to further weaken Tehran's position. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are reportedly in favor of a strategy that either diminishes Iran's influence or leads to a leadership change involving Mojtaba Khamenei. Kuwait and Bahrain are also believed to support the continuation of U.S. operations against Iran, aligning with broader regional concerns. The argument presented by Gulf states is that recent U.S.-Israel strikes have not significantly altered Iran's military or strategic capabilities. An Associated Press report dated March 31 outlined internal discussions and perspectives emerging from engagements between Washington and key Arab governments. According to these assessments, Gulf allies believe sustained pressure could potentially weaken Iran's clerical leadership structure over time. Abu Dhabi has additionally been reported to favor a more aggressive approach, including the possibility of a ground operation inside Iran. This position is said to be influenced by repeated missile and drone attacks launched by Iran during the ongoing conflict. However, divisions remain within the region regarding the appropriate course of action for Washington moving forward. Oman and Qatar have reportedly advocated for a diplomatic resolution, emphasizing dialogue as a pathway to de-escalation.
Right now, the Strait of Hormuz is closed due to a military operation, and therefore we are not willing now to discuss what that means for the future of the Strait. The future of the Strait is something for all the region and the international partners to decide collectively. One party cannot decide this on their behalf. This is not a channel that goes through the territorial waters or lands of one country. This is a strait that we all share in, and therefore this is a collective decision to be had after this escalation has ended and after security has been re-established. Since this escalation began, we have warned against targeting vital civilian infrastructure. We have said it very clearly that this is a threat to all of us in the region. This region depends heavily on desalination. We have very little other resources of drinking water or natural water altogether, and therefore we see this as a very big threat to people's lives here in the region, and we condemn all attacks on civilian infrastructure as completely unnecessary and very dangerous for the whole region. Our understanding is that there is a very unified position in the Gulf on calling for de-escalation and an end to this war, but I would say that you should ask every country about their own positions on this. But we have always said also that we support and welcome diplomatic initiatives around the world that are working with both parties to find an end to this. We've always said that these conflicts end at the end on the negotiation table, regardless of the damage that is done to both parties. And therefore, the sooner we get to the negotiation table, the better it is for all the peoples of the region. Energy facilities are almost daily being attacked one way or the other. This is a very dangerous precedent, because not only through this escalation and this war will we see this, it becomes a red line crossed and a threshold crossed for future escalations in the region and beyond internationally. And therefore we are calling on all parties to refrain from attacks on civilian infrastructure. The peoples of the region are not part of this war. The peoples of the region are not the targets of this war, and the peoples of the region are not the instigators of this war. And they need to be protected by protecting civilian infrastructure.
Arachi, on March 30th, stated that Iran's strikes on neighboring Arab countries were directed specifically at U.S. forces operating in the region. The Iranian foreign minister also urged Gulf nations to reconsider the presence of American troops within their territories. Arachi said, and I quote, "Iran respects the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and considers it a brotherly nation. Our operations are aimed at enemy aggressors who have no respect for Arabs or Iranians, nor can provide any security. High time to eject U.S. forces." End quote. Meanwhile, Iran's retaliatory strikes targeting locations linked to U.S. allies in the Gulf region are continuing. On March 31st, a telecommunications facility in Sharjah, United Arab Emirates, was reportedly struck by a drone. In Dubai, A residential property was set on fire after debris from an intercepted Iranian missile fell in the area. Saudi Arabia stated on March 30th that 4 Iranian ballistic missiles were intercepted and successfully neutralized. Kuwait has also experienced repeated impacts as part of Iran's retaliation against US and Israeli actions. On March 30th, another Kuwaiti oil tanker was reportedly targeted during an Iranian strike near a port in Dubai. Iran claimed it had carried out a precise strike on what it described as a gathering point for US Marines on the UAE coast, signaling a direct challenge to American deployments in the Gulf region. Tehran also asserted that an anti-drone system belonging to the US fleet based in Bahrain was destroyed, framing the attack as part of a broader effort to blind American defenses. In a further claim, Iran said it had taken out an advanced aerial radar at the Jabba al-Ahmed base, presenting this as another blow to US surveillance and early warning capabilities in the area. The Revolutionary Guard reiterated that the Strait of Hormuz remains completely under Iran's control, underscoring its leverage over one of the world's most critical oil and shipping choke points. Iran additionally claimed it had intercepted an American MQ-9 drone over Isfahan, the same region that was recently bombed by US forces in a strike on Iranian military assets. Washington is reported to have used bunker buster bombs against an ammunition depot in Isfahan on March 31st, highlighting how deeply the air war has now penetrated Iranian territory.
برآوردهای غلط رئیس جمهور آمریکا و سران جنایتکار رژیم صهیونیستی باعث گردیده است که ملت قهرمان و دشمن ستیز و نیروهای مسلح مقتدر و شجاع ایران را با شاخصهای مادی و دنیایی خود بسنجند. چنین محاسبات اشتباهی حضور بی سابقه مردم بصیر و انقلابی در خیابانها و اقتدار و ایستادگی معجزه‌گون نیروهای مسلح در میدان نبرد را برای دشمن غیر قابل پیش بینی نموده است. این خطای راهبردی دشمنان آمریکایی و صهیونیستی ایران اسلامی آنها را تحقیر و در مسیر نابودی قرار داده است. آنها با خیالات و توهم فکر می‌کنند با جنگ تبلیغاتی و نمایش سلاح‌ها و تجهیزات به ظاهر پیشرفته نظامی و ترور کودکان، زنان، مردان، دانشمندان و فرماندهان شجاع نیروهای مسلح کشور خواهند توانست ایران مقتدر و سربلندی را که در طول تاریخ در برابر دشمنان خود سر فرود نیاورده است را تسلیم نمایند و یا به خیال خام و باطل خود بر تنگه هرمز تسلط پیدا کنند که این آرزو را تا ابد به گور خواهند برد. دشمنان شکست خورده آمریکایی صهیونیستی ایران اسلامی باید بدانند ملت آگاه و مقاوم و فرزندان سرافراز آنها در نیروهای مسلح ثابت کردند پای هر متجاوزی به کشورشان را قطع و آنها را به خاک سیاه و مذلت خواهند نشاند و من نصر الا من عند الله العزیز الحکیم.
Meanwhile, reports suggest President Trump is preparing to end the conflict even if the Strait of Hormuz is not fully reopened, raising questions about how much economic pressure the US and its allies are prepared to absorb.